All right, all right, all right. Here we go. We are live. Looks like I'm checking out the delay. It looks like it's about a 10-second delay today. I switched the stream latency to low latency. Just gonna change up a couple quick things here. Welcome back, crafters. Yep, Mick, we got another one. How is it going, everybody? What's going on, Sconsuito? All right, that's a little better. Cool. So we got some people in the chat today. Let's see. All right, so the general plan for today, basically I'm going to be on for probably about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. I got to drop off close to 11:30 Pacific time. It's about 9 a.m. right now. So yeah, I'll be on for a little over 2 hours, and then going to be back later this afternoon, probably 3 p.m. Pacific time, I'm thinking, and then just kind of go from there. So yeah, let's see what's going on here. Can't join the jam this year. Looking forward to what people can achieve. Yeah, I mean, there's like, I think like 18,000 people who joined the jam. Yeah, 18,000. So yeah, definitely a pretty good turnout for the jam. This is certainly the biggest game jam that I've participated in. So yeah, I think there's going to be a ton of cool stuff. Again, the theme the theme for the game jam, the Game Maker's Toolkit Jam, is Out of Control, which I think is a really great jam theme. So yeah, I'm going to stop the stream in about 2 hours. So we got plenty of time for some good development before then. But I got to drop off to take care of a couple things, and then I will be back after that. So yeah, how's everyone doing? If you're participating in the jam, how's it all going for everybody? Yeah, it's always the submission hour, you kind of overload all the itch.io servers. So yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to, make early and frequent builds of my game and upload them to itch.io. So that's something that I'm going to try and get done in just this quick little 2-hour stream today, is have a couple builds up for you guys to test. I'm going to show you my progress in just a sec here, but I'm just going to want to check in with everyone, see how everyone's doing. Trying to finish a course in Unity first, finishing in 2 weeks. That's awesome. Are you taking a course online? Is it through Unity? Did you find it somewhere else? What course is it? What are you learning? Is it just kind of like a general Unity course? Start pulling up all my stuff here. We will pop out the chat, and this can all come over here. Oh yeah, Game Dev HQ. I've heard of them. So yeah, this is a great question. What's the direction on the theme? So yeah, if you're just joining the stream today, and you were kind of in and out yesterday, or maybe you weren't in yesterday, and this is your first time today, So basically the theme is out of control. So the kind of take that I took on it, I wanted to make a turn-based role-playing type game. So turn-based fighting mechanics, and so the idea is basically you as the player, you're fighting a big boss, and it's going to be you're going to have like multiple bosses throughout the game, and then the idea is you have your health bar, and you're trying to obviously take down the boss's health bar to 0. The boss is trying to take down your health to 0, and you can just kind of attack them in a standard fashion. And then there's also going to be a number of kind of like neutral units on the field, and then these neutral units, they can be controlled using kind of like your control resource. And then so these neutral units, I'm kind of thinking they're going to be sort of like a replacement for items. So they're going to be able to attack in different ways. Maybe you can add status effects, and then so you can basically use that control resource to take control of these neutral units, to basically strengthen your attack potential to kind of take down the big enemy. But on the flip side, the enemy also has its own control resource, and then so it can take control of those neutral units and do massive damage to you as well. So I think it's going to be pretty fun. Slept for the first 20 hours of the jam. So yeah, the neutral units, they're kind of just like in the center. So then basically the main character as well as the boss can both take control over some of these neutral units. So anyways, let me pull up my stuff and I can show you the progress that I've made on it so far. You possess them? Yeah, basically. So yep, I did make a little bit of progress while I was offline last night. So I can kind of show you what I got going here. You'll notice that I did implement some unit testing. I have some play mode tests and some edit mode tests. I guess we can get into those while I brought them up. So that for the edit mode tests, it's pretty simple. I did some tests on the stat class here. So yesterday, Gary was saying that I should create a stats class where I can kind of basically keep track of the maximum stats and the current stats. So a couple improvements that I made to this class. I just have a new constructor where it just takes in the max value, and then if you just set the max value, then it's going to set the max to max as well as the current to the max value, just so you start with full health there. A lot of people are doing Twitch chat integration. Twitch chat integration in their games. Is that what's the Amazon game engine called? Like Lumberyard? I think that's what. There's a lot of like Twitch integration stuff in there. And then, so on the stats class, I ended up putting a function for modify current stat, and then I actually I think I still need to change it on the character. But instead of having like a modify health, where it like directly calls the stats class here, I think it's just gonna go ahead and call this modify current stat on there. Okay, using Unity. Interesting. Yeah, I always thought the like Twitch integrations for games is a pretty interesting concept. When a lot of people stream games, it's kind of one directional sometimes. So, of course the chat's there and you can kind of talk back and forth a little bit, but it's pretty cool when you can have like the chat somehow involved with how the game plays out. Yeah. So thank you on the changes to the stat class. So here's kind of the testing I have. Basically, I just have 4 tests. I set the maximum stat value to 50, and then the current value to 25, and then I increase it exactly to 50, test that it's 50. I increase it above 50, make sure that it's still 50. Then I decrease it to 0, make sure that it's 0, and I decrease it below 0 and make sure it's still set to 0. And so we can go over to our edit mode tests, go ahead and run those, and you'll see they pass no problem. Remember there was that one time, I think they still kind of do this every once in a while, but it was like, I remember it was like a big deal a couple years ago where it was like Twitch chat plays Pokemon Red or something like that, and then basically everyone in the Twitch chat is just like spamming inputs, and somehow after like a number of weeks or whatever, they ended up beating the game, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. Twitch plays Pokemon, exactly. That's cool. Yeah, it seems like that'd be pretty difficult. Yeah, man, Pokemon is an excellent series. That makes sense that they're only making progress at night. I guess just during the daytime, there's just too many people in there, just all sabotaging what's going on. That's funny. It's like an interesting social experiment in some ways. Chaos, exactly. Okay, and then so for the play mode test, I think I just have one test, but there's a couple asserts on it. So the test is for my state machine, and so this is kind of one of the developments that I did last night, a couple additions to the state machine here. So you see that I have a couple new states. So I have the pre-new battle setup, the new battle setup, player action select is an existing one, player action target select is a new one, player action playback was existing, enemy action select was existing, enemy action playback was existing. I added a cutscene one in here because I think I want to add in some dialogue. I'm thinking that like pretty much the whole game is going to take place just kind of within the battle window, and then there can be maybe some dialogue before the battle and maybe in the battle. So that's what's going on there. So yeah, basically then, so yeah, you'll see in the test, actually let me zoom this in for you guys a little bit. So you'll see in the test, I create a new battle state machine game object. Go ahead and add in the battle state machine component, and then I also created this battle controller game object and gave it the battle controller component as well. So first thing, we just want to check to see if the current battle state is set to none, because that's what it is by default. And so yeah, the test thingy, this is what's known as unit testing. And so unit testing is, I guess the best way to describe it is just like, you can have a bunch of tests and you can ensure that blocks of your code always run correctly. So if you end up modifying some bits of code and then one of these tests fail, it's going to be a lot easier for you to know where exactly the problem is and what you changing, how it had like an effect on something else and how it broke. I would highly recommend checking out my friend's channel. You may have heard of him, Infallible Code. He's got a good bunch of videos on test-driven development, and he makes it really easy to show you how to start adding in these play mode and edit mode tests. Yeah, let me see if I can get a link to Charles' channel here for you. But yeah, he's a really great channel to check out. Kind of like after you learn the basics of Unity to start looking into kind of more of the next level Unity stuff. So yeah, talking about like unit tests, and he goes into, you know, namespaces and assembly definitions, just like good programming practices overall. Yeah. So yeah, optimization is great. So yeah, edit mode tests are for things like the stat class, where this is what's called a POCO, a plain old C# object. So that's because it doesn't inherit from mono behavior. It's just a plain old C# class. Yeah, I remember big O notation. I was learning that stuff in college. Fun stuff. Yeah. Infallible Code has got a bunch of good info over there. So yeah, anyways, the edit mode tests, this is, yeah, stuff that isn't on a mono behavior, and it can run basically within the editor. So we can just kind of like, basically if I go over to the, over here, the stat tests, you'll see that on the tests, there's 3 phases to set up a test. So the first is kind of like the setup phase, where you basically like set up your object. So you see here that I'm just creating a new stat object, just with a simple constructor here. After that, you do kind of like a modification to it. So you see that here is where I'm actually increasing the current stat by a value of 25. And then the final thing you need to do is the assert. And the assert is where you actually compare. So you'll see, for example, I have this 50, and this 50 is the expected value. So when I increase my value from 25, which is the current, and I increase it by 25, you'll see that the expected value that I want is 50, and then this is the actual value. So this is where I test that the current value of that test stat class. So it basically does that comparison, and then when we go over here, the easiest way is to just double click on whichever tests you want to run. So this just runs all of them, and then you'll see I get green check marks all the way down because all the tests pass. All right, Mick, we'll see you back soon. So yeah, and then anyways, play mode tests are a little bit different. Play mode tests are for things that need mono behaviors and for things that are happening in the world. So real quickly, let me just kind of run through the play mode tests that I have here. So yeah, it's the state machine tests. So yeah, like I said, it creates a battle state machine and then creates a battle controller. So the first thing, yeah, again, we just test to make sure that it's in the battle state of none, because that's what it is in by default. Then on the battle controller, we call this begin battle. So over here, you'll see that all the begin battle function does is it changes the battle state to this pre-new battle setup. Now the pre-new battle setup, that one, let me see what I ended up actually doing on the pre-new battle setup. I think that is the one. Yeah, so the pre-new battle setup is where we actually register the characters on the list now. Previously, that phase was called the just the register character phase, but I changed it to the pre-new battle setup phase. Because if I ever want to add some more things into that pre-battle setup phase, then that's where I want to have them. So yeah, that's where it basically registers all the characters that are in the actual battle. You'll see going back to the battle controller. Then what happens after that is I have this update function that just checks the current battle state. If we are in the pre-new battle setup, then it's going to change it into the new battle setup phase. So it basically just kind of gives us, we have one frame where we're in the pre-new battle setup. Then on the next frame, we're going to be in the new battle setup. So the new battle setup, this is where we actually do some of the UI stuff. So you'll see for the instance state changed when we are in the new battle setup. Here is where we're actually going to initialize that battle UI. And then on the battle controller, if we are in that new battle setup phase, then it's going to go ahead and prompt the change to the battle state of player action select. And then so the player action select, that's basically when we're ready as the player to go ahead and select whichever, you know, attack actions and stuff is going on. So yeah, looks good, definitely. And then just going back to the state machine test, you'll see that we call the begin battle function, and then we'll test to make sure that we are in the pre-battle setup phase. We'll do a yield return null to give us to have us wait for 1 frame. We're going to test that we are in the new battle setup phase. We're going to do another yield return null to wait a frame, and then we're going to check to make sure that we're in the player action select phase. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I think the first thing that I want to change real quickly here before I forget is over on the modify health. We can, what do I call the stat? So character stats. So on the health, we can just call the, if I can remember what I called it, modify cur stat by the amount. And then here we'll just check if the current health is less than or equal to 0. Then we can go ahead and call the character dead. And then here I want to go ahead and deregister the character from the battle. So we can go ahead and call our battle controller okay. Looks good. I'm trying to think what other things that I did last night. I think those were kind of the main things. I did a little bit more work in the UI, and I can kind of show you what I have going with that. But yeah. All right, so for the UI, let me do a maximize on play so I can show this off. So you'll see that we basically have these 2 squares. We have you know, the player and the enemy. So go ahead and click begin battle, and you'll see that we have this action button now appear under the player, and then you'll see that there's no action button that displays under the enemy, and I can show you why that is in just a sec here, although I did notice I'm getting a null reference exception somewhere. Right, because I don't have that set up yet. So, crafters, you're almost done with your game. It's impressive, man. We got, oh, let me start my timer. All right, so yeah, got 1 day, 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 5 seconds until the GMTK jam ends. So yeah, little over halfway, little under halfway completed. What's going on, SLGA? How's it going? Welcome, welcome. So yeah, if you're just joining the stream, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like button. Lots of awesome game development content today. We're going to be on for probably little under 2 hours from now. And what's going on, Jackson? And I'm using C# right here. I'm using the Unity game engine, so I'm programming in C#. So yeah, I'm going to be going on for little under 2 hours from right now. I got to drop off a little before 11:30, and then I'm going to be back this afternoon. 3 p.m. Pacific time is probably what I'm thinking, and then going to be going on throughout the evening. So yeah, right now working on just trying to get a simple little build for you guys with just the kind of basic attacks and stuff going on. So yeah, anyways, what I was saying about how the so like if we hit play here, you'll see that I have this action button. When I begin the battle, I have this action button that displays under the player here. And so you'll see that I put basically just a little flag on the character class for this is controllable. So if it is controllable, I'll hit that check mark. And you see now when I go back and hit play and begin battle, now I have the attack button that actually displays under both the player and the enemy. Dang, already working on the last cutscene. That's impressive, man. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, and Gary mentioned something that I wanted to read through. So you should make an event on the character class called character dead. Then you can handle player and enemy deaths without a bunch of logic. Okay. That's a good point. Total play time around 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, I think that's a perfect amount of play time for a jam game. Yeah, I feel like with jam games, you want to be, kind of respectful of people's time. Just because, if you're trying to play a bunch of games and rate a bunch of games, you don't want to be stuck in a game too long. And I mean, I don't have any problem with like long games, obviously, but when it's a jam game and you have, a pretty simple mechanic and, the story is not too crazy and complex because, you only have so much time to develop on it. I'd say it's pretty good to be respectful with people's time. So I think, 10 to 15 minute play time, that's perfect. That's right where you should be shooting for. All right, so action buttons. I need to initialize this here. So basically I put these in a list because I want to be able to basically just dynamically turn on and off these action buttons. So you see I can show you what I did here for spawning the action buttons, kind of a bunch of logic, but basically it just spawns it into the world. And then here's where we do the on-click add listener property. And then this basically adds the character's action. So each character has an action assigned to them. And this basically just adds it into the battle controller battle actions queue. So I just have this little helpful function that basically just enqueues, on-queues, however you want to say, this into the battle actions queue. So here we'll just go ahead and initialize the action buttons. Time to go ahead and crack my kombucha for the day. This is the multigrain GT's brand classic kombucha. Might have almost exploded on me. Let's see. All right, we're good. Tastes like vegetables. All right, so I did just kind of have some little empty game objects for health bar game object, control bar game object. So so display character stats. This is where I was kind of left off here. So this is how I'm going to be basically just dynamically spawning these health bars and health sliders and control bar sliders into the world. Always instantiate your collections when you declare them. You mean basically just like after I define it here, just like right away, just remember to instantiate them just so I don't forget. Is that what you're saying? Or did you mean something else? So anyways, here we're going to go ahead and instantiate, what do I call it? Health bar prefab. One other slight change that I made is I kind of like expanded everything, and this HUD is going to be a little bit different. But I actually just have everything set up in a world canvas, and that's just so I can basically just have the UI easily in relation to the players. So here we'll set the parent to be the world canvas. And then here we can also set the position of it. Yeah, because if you don't do the new list and you try to add it, you'll get an error, at least in native C#, maybe IL2CPP. I can say that. Does some magic though. Yeah, that's a good point. This is just I was kind of like in the middle of some things, and then I just like I knew I wanted a list for those things, so I just like put it in there, and then just kind of moved on to whatever else I was doing. But luckily, I understand what that error means, so pretty easy to fix. And so yeah, I have a little health bar offset, and actually need to change this. I think I have an action button offset as well. So we'll get the slider component here. And then I'm also going to go ahead and assign that so curchar dot health bar game object equals new health bar game object. So that will be for the health bar, and then now we need to do basically the same for the control slider. I'm sure there's probably an easier way to do this with generics or something, but it is a game jam after all, so nothing wrong with a little bit of spaghetti code. Okay, and then here we'll actually go ahead and set the values of the slider. So the max value is equal to, this is going to be the curchar dot car stats at health dot max and I guess I can also do the minimum value. We'll just set that equal to 0. For the current value, we'll just set this to the current value of health. Easy. And now we can copy this and do the same for the control bar, except this time will be on the control stat. Cool. Let's see how well this works. Okay, so game controller, we need a health bar prefab. So first, let me move this over into the world canvas. The story I've made is simple yet complex. Well, I'm looking forward to it. You've been hyping this up pretty good now. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it. See, I guess this doesn't need to be in the proper position because we're going to be doing that through code. Okay, so we can just stick on as a player health slider. We can just call this the health slider, and then we can call this the control slider. Go ahead and drag both of these into the prefabs folder. And I'll just turn them off so they're out of the way. So now I need to come over onto my UI controller. We'll go ahead and bring in the health bar prefab and the control bar prefab, and we need to set up some offsets here. So I think the action button had it -100. For the health bar, I guess I'll do +150 and +75. We'll see how that looks. So let me save my scene, go ahead and hit play and see how badly this breaks. So begin battle. Not terrible. Something's happening. So let's see what's going on here. All right, so I only have, so I have 2 health bars for some reason, and no control bars. All right, so this goes through each character in battle characters. Okay, I see what I'm doing. This needs to be a control bar. And yeah, that's what happens when you copy code and don't change it. Char.net. Okay, I think that should be good. Cool. Nice. I think the enemy, yeah, just has a max health of 0. So we can set that to 100, 50, 10. Cool. Player 10, 10, 2. Anyways, maximize on play. I can hit play again. Begin battle. And then now you'll see boom, boom, boom. Cool. I think one thing that I do want to change about these prefabs, though, is the anchor point. Go ahead and apply those to the prefab. Turn these off for now. Did you make the full logo yourself? And if you did, what program did you use? Okay, this is not what I wanted either. Oh wait, it didn't actually apply those. Okay. Fine. Do it that way. Okay, cool. That looks like exactly what I needed to do. Cool. So now we can actually add in attacking. And that's cool because once we get the attacking in, I'm going to go ahead and create a build of the game and upload it for you all to play, even though it's going to be pretty simple, but it's going to be a build that you can play. So that's cool. Okay. Paint.net and used a website for the glitch effect. Ooh, glitch effect. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, basically what happens, I'm going to go into the enemy. Yeah, no, they're no longer controllable. And let me just make sure that when I hit the play button and I click the action, we don't get any errors. So yeah, I hit begin battle, and then I hit attack, And then so that should add the attack to the whatchamacallit, the battle actions queue. So that adds it to the queue, and then I need to change. So yeah, now is where I need to change. Like after we click the button. So yeah, maybe instead. I think on the battle controller. I don't know if I want to put this in a different function, but yeah, so I think I'm gonna call another function on the battle controller, which is going to add the action as well as change the state of the game from the player action select into player action target select. And so basically when we click the attack button, then the second kind of like phase of that is to select the target of the enemy. And so yeah, I think the battle controller is a fine place to put that. So we'll say public void, what could I call this? The player selected action. So this is after you select the action. So first we'll go ahead and add the action. And then after that, we can, I need to do my battle state machine. And change the state over to battle state dot player action target select. Now on my UI controller, for the state changed, when I want to go for the case for battle state dot player action target select, here is where I'm going to, so yeah, player action select, this is where I want to new battle setup. So yeah, a new battle setup initializes the UI and then spawns the action buttons, and then in the player action select, I'm actually going to show the action buttons, and then the player target select, I'm going to hide those, if that makes sense. So I say show battle. Oh, I already have a function for it. Show hide battle action buttons. And then we want to show those in here, so we just pass in true. Show hide battle action buttons, passing in false. And then, so yeah, I already have this show hide battle action buttons, and it basically just goes through everything and then just basically sets it active or inactive, depending on if we want to show them or not. Simple. Okay, so I think that should work. Let's find out. All right, so begin battle. Hit attack, and it did not disappear. So when I press the attack, oh, that's because I'm still calling the add action here. So instead I need to be calling the player selected action. Okay. So this should properly change the state. Begin battle, attack, and then boom, the attack disappears. I want to make this so I need to change those so they're not interactable. Okay. Packaging the game for Windows, Mac, Linux, and web browsers. That's perfect. Yeah, I think, yeah, for game jams, web is the #1 platform that you should be targeting just because everyone can get it. But that's awesome that you're getting it direct downloads for Windows, Mac, and Linux as well. I definitely prefer the like downloadable and install games. Those typically just run a little bit better than through the web browser. Even though most game jam games run just fine in a web browser. Have you used Godot? Currently making my jam in it, but I found it incredibly frustrating, even though I've used it for the past couple months. Maybe I'll use Game Maker next time. I have not used Godot. Of course, I've watched a couple of videos on it. There's a bunch of good YouTube channels with people making things in Godot. I haven't actually ever tried it out for myself. Unity's been pretty much my go-to game engine. This is the one that I've been most familiar with for quite a long time. But Game Maker is actually what I started making games in. I think it's a really good engine. Obviously, there's been some pretty successful games made with Game Maker, and I like it just because it's simple and you can just it's a good way to get you into learning kind of like the logic of game development. So I'm a fan of Game Maker. I'll approve. But that's too bad that you've been running into a bunch of issues with Godot. Other than that, how's it going? I'll make you pay for Game Maker. Isn't it still pretty cheap, or is it just like a one-time purchase of like $30 or something? Or have they changed kind of the monetization? It was super nice when it was free, though. I mean, even though the free version was still a little bit limited, but okay. So yeah, now the next phase is we need to select our target. So for selecting targets, I think I'll just have you just click directly on the enemy. Yeah. So in the battle controller, on the update function, I'll have a new case for if we're in the battle state dot player action target select. Oh, $39 a year for solo development. It's not terrible, but yeah, it was nice when it was free. I mean, it's like 1/10 of the price of Unity Plus Edition. But I mean, if you are making some simple games that bring you in a couple dollars a month, I mean, it pays for itself, right? Godot has some very weird, unintuitive, and limited ways of doing things, different from other engines. It just doesn't really have very good documentation. Yeah, I mean, because Godot is an open sourced engine, right? So, I mean, I'm sure there's like some things that are like really well documented and other things that are, you know, kind of maybe random one-off features that some people added in that might not have as good of documentation. But it seems like it's very much kind of a work in progress. Yeah, I mean, it seems to work pretty well for some people, but yeah, I'm sure you can run into some walls. Said Godot is similar to Click Team Fusion. I'm not really familiar with that. So here, I think I'm just going to do a simple raycast on click. So check if input.get mouse button down is equal to 0. And I always need to look this up, but yeah, probably just need some more time to get that documentation, because yeah, Blender is open source as well, so. Anyways, hope you guys are all doing super well on the Saturday. If you haven't done so already, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like button. It really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you do want to learn anything about Unity or just kind of some other random game development topics in general that we can kind of speak of, yeah, feel free to let me know as well. And always looking for good topics to make some videos on. I'm just going to straight copy this code block here. Maybe Godot doesn't work very well with the way I'm used to making games, but it certainly doesn't seem good for prototyping small games. Maybe it would be better if I was making something big. Actually, I haven't tried Unity. Maybe when I get a new laptop that can reliably run Unity games, I'll try it. Yeah, I'd recommend Unity. I think it's pretty cool. They have, um, obviously the whole asset store and everything, and you can and download a bunch of cool things off there and be able to throw together a game pretty quickly that you can prototype with. Actually, yeah, I'll do this instead. Cache a reference to the camera here. I don't know about Unity being extremely light. Although it will be interesting to see how it evolves, because I know they're trying to separate a bunch of things out with the package manager and everything like that. As of version 2020, you basically can't even access the asset store through the editor as you normally would. But basically everything is done through the package manager, and I think they're trying to like separate out a bunch of things into the package manager so that when you just start a blank project, then it doesn't come with a bunch of crap that you don't necessarily need. The old Pentium E5800. Sweet. Yeah, Vesk, what kind of computer are you on right now? You on like a Chromebook? Just kidding. Just kidding. So I think I'll just grab a reference to the character script on whatever I click on. It's an old laptop, but not that bad. Some Unity games have ran fairly poorly. Maybe it'll work, but I doubt it will do so well. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just you're running games that aren't like super optimized. I've definitely fell into that kind of trap before, where things work fine on my computer, but then I go to run it on a lower powered computer or even a phone or something like that, and it just runs like crap. Luckily, if you're paying attention, there are usually some pretty significant modifications you can make to how you structure your project, to set it up to run a little bit better. So I don't know, maybe it just comes down to an optimization thing at that point. Getting an error about exporting. What are you trying to export? I mean, how much does it increase the file size? Like, what's the total file size if you export everything? Because you're making a game with RPG Maker, right? So it shouldn't be like super crazy big. Haven't got there yet. Okay. Right. Okay. So now. It's a good point. Actually, I think I'm a bit ahead of myself. I don't want to add the new action quite yet on the player selected action. Because I still need a target for that action. No, I could still do that. I could still add it there, and then I just need to set the target in here. I guess one way to do this could have a public action or cur action. Actually, I don't think it necessarily needs to be public. Because I can set it in the player selected action. Cur action equals new action. And then we can say cur action dot target is equal to the target character. $200 megabyte difference. Okay, I mean, it's not terrible, but it is fairly significant. I mean, it's not a problem for me. I have pretty decent internet, but I know there are a bunch of people who don't have as good of internet, and it might be a little bit more for them. What's the total size? Are you over half a gig? Because I mean, I've definitely downloaded Game Jam games in the past that were like probably over like a gigabyte at least. And again, not a much of a problem for me, but I think if you're around 500 megabytes, that's pretty much fine. Total size 487. There you go. Yeah, I mean that pretty much doubles your download size though. Okay, and then so now we can also set the battle state machine, change state back into battle state dot player action select. So a couple things I need to remember to do. One, I want to have a cancel button. So if you select an action and then you're in the phase of selecting a target, I basically want to be able to cancel that and go back so you don't lock in that action if you don't want to. And then the other thing that I think is probably a little bit more important is when we do finalize the action right here, then I want to disable that button. So that we basically can't just spam the attack action over and over again. Okay. Okay, begin battle. UI is being... Oh, it's because I have it not interactable. All right, I can fix that. So attack, and then click on that guy. Needs a collider. Okay, so begin the battle, say attack, click on the enemy, and then boom, we're back in the attack phase. So cool. We have NQ'd our action. I should probably move that up. like RPG Maker, but sometimes it can be a bit broken. Yeah, I don't have much experience with it, but cool. So it's about 10:20 a.m. right now. I want to get a build out to you guys before I have to drop off. I'm going to be live for about another hour, and then got to drop off for a little bit, but then I'll be back this afternoon, probably about 3 p.m. Pacific time is what I'm thinking. And then I think I'm probably going to have a pretty decently long stream this evening while I just kind of keep jamming. Okay. So now I need to change this UI a little bit. Avoided jam spaghetti so far. Trying. I think I'm doing pretty decent. You know, I think these jams are a great opportunity to just kind of practice your skills, practice the things that you don't do as often as you'd like to, try some things different that you don't get a chance to do so often. And I think I've been succeeding pretty well so far with that. So I cannot complain. Yeah, great practice times indeed. Okay. So now I think spamming actions at the moment is fine. I just want to get a build for you guys going. So next thing that I'm going to set up is the end turn, where we actually play back all of our actions. And so this is the battle controller. So I have this queue of battle actions, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this an I enumerator for now, or coroutine. So execute actions. Oh, I just have it as a function for now. Yeah, I can do that, and then I can change it to a coroutine later. So yeah, this will execute all the actions, and then after that, I'll do a switch on the current battle state. A lot of switches, but I guess that's how it goes with state machines. So if we're on the player action playback, let's hope this package I have works this time. I'm not testing it. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What's going on? Welcome to the chat. Switch machines. Switch machines. Oh, battle state machine.instance, current battle state. There we go. There we go. Okay. So if we're currently in the player action playback, I assume that we can just go to the enemy action select state. Awesome, crafters. Glad to hear it's working for you. And then if we are in the battle state of enemy action playback, then we can do battle state machine.instance.change state and then go into the I think eventually I might want to have kind of like a post-turn kind of cleanup state, especially if I get to the point where I'm adding in maybe like different status effects that like a poison that can kind of do a little bit of damage each turn. But we can add in more of that complexity as it comes. Yeah, probably analyze state. Yeah. But yeah, again, I think this is just fine for now. Just to get something. Okay, so every state machine I've ever done in production, I always have a pre and post state for every main state. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of like how you're saying that I'll end up with like 20 states by the end of this. That's definitely how you can get to that. You have kind of the main states and then, yeah, pre and post for each state. So I guess I probably need to start implementing some type of basic AI for the enemy now. So I guess I could just do this in the enemy class. Sounds good to me, I guess. So if we are in the enemy action select, then basically we're gonna have one action, gonna select, or we're gonna do the action and then select our target, which is the player in this case. More state machines. We need more state machines. Yeah, I'm a fan of the state machine pattern. Nothing wrong with it. Nope. So select action. So obviously our character has, of course, an action associated with it. And so for now, I'm just going to hard code it just to select its only action. As things get more complicated, I think we can get to the point where, we can select our action as well as actions from some of these other neutral units. So let's see here. I have the action called character action, and then the battle controller. So yeah, that is going to execute all the actions. And then, so basically all we need to do is just add the action. So here I'll say character action. I'm just going to do this super simple, character action dot target. Needs to be the player. I don't want to make the player just like a singleton right now, but just trying to think of an easy way to get a reference to the player. I mean, I guess I could just do a find object with type thing. Battle controller. Good point. Have it there for a reason. Maybe I'll just do a get player. Is there a better way than just like iterating through that list and looking for the player? Because I just have the public list of characters. All right. So yes on iterating through the list. Oh, okay. Can you copy and paste that? I don't think it came through. I just switched over to the live chat, so you might need to put that back again. I was in top chat, live chat, so I don't think it came through. Still not seeing it in the chat if you put it in there again. You do something like this in there. All right, perfect. Battle controllers. So I guess what you're saying is I don't even need a get player function. I can just probably do it from here. Or wait. Yeah, I'll just do a function here. Battle characters dot first or default player. try it in here then. Keeps wanting to put char in there. Battle controller, not battle characters. The heck? Like a tennis ball just hit my window. Battle controller dot characters dot first or default. Should I do that inside the battle controller, inside this get player class, or I can do it inside this enemy class? Is that fine? Or does it matter? Yeah, the list is public. It's battle characters is the name of the list. So battle controller dot instance dot battle characters dot first or default. It's private. You'll have to do it in the battle controller singleton. Yeah, public list of characters, battle characters. This is just giving me an error. It says list of characters does not contain definition for first or default. Right click on first or default and add link is using. It is using system.link. They put that in. Requires a receiver type of IEnumerable player. If not, I don't. What? Invert if no. Type is character, not player in the first chevrons. Da-da-dun. So then I guess in here, then this is where I would set the target equal to found P. Yeah. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Nice. Yeah, no, I just came across this first or default thing the other day, and I don't know, I need to get better at these fun, interesting expressions. And then I guess after that, go ahead and add so I'll do a battle controller dot instance dot add action, passing in the character action. Okay. So we go and add the action. And then we don't need to do anything after that. So we can call the battle state machine dot instance dot cur battle state dot change battle state. Go to battle state dot enemy action playback. What does GMTK stand for? Kind of a novice at this jam stuff. So actually, GMTK is a YouTube channel. It's the Game Maker's Toolkit YouTube channel. And Mark Brown, he runs that channel. It's a really excellent channel. They talk a lot about design and unique design and cool stuff. A lot of stuff in AAA games as well as some really popular indie games. He has some really well put together videos. If you haven't came across his channel, I would highly recommend it. And so he puts on a jam every year. This is actually the first time that I've participated in his jam. And so it's a 48-hour game jam. So it started yesterday at noon, and then so we're about halfway through the jam right now. And then it's going to be going on until noon tomorrow. So basically we have to make a full game within Scratch within those 48 hours. And it's a pretty big game jam. There's like 18,000 people who are registered for it, which is, you know, completely huge. I think the biggest Ludum Dare game jam was actually this most recent one, because apparently a lot of people are like stuck at home for some weird reason. I don't know. But there was like 9,000 people in that one, and that was huge. So yeah, there was 18,000 people who signed up for this one. Oh, okay, you've came across the channel. I'm sure. But yeah, he's got a great channel. Okay, cool. And you're explaining some of that code a little bit more. So yeah, anyway, so the big thing for that code seems complex, but for those watching, C and then the arrow C is player. Says for each item in the list, call it C. Okay, fair enough. If C is a type of player, return true. This makes first or default return the player found or null. The second is player found P says if we're not null, make a new variable of type P called found P. The is keyword returns true. If the object is not null, then you can use found P in your code. Nifty. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of things going on just in that one line, so it's super nice, cleans up your code. I mean, it's much better than I was suggesting of like, oh, should I iterate through the whole list and then find the player? And yeah, it's nice when you can simplify it all to just like one line like that. So far we got 92 submissions. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Have you submitted yours yet? Or are you planning on submitting yours today? I know you said you were getting close to finishing, or were you gonna spend the extra day to kind of polish things up? Okay, so enemy action playback. So I'm getting close to making a build of the game. It looks like, so it's about 10:50 a.m. right now. I'm going to be live for probably another half hour. I have to drop off a little before 11:30. And then I will be back later this afternoon, but I do want to get a build out for you guys as soon as possible. Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's I like simplifying, finding like little ways to simplify my code that way. Kind of like how you suggested yesterday about using math.min and math.max as opposed to just, writing the if statements myself. I mean, there are things built into the language like this for a reason. So it's just kind of a matter of learning those things and figuring out when to appropriately use them. But yeah, so I'm probably going to be live for another half hour or so. If you guys have been enjoying the stream so far, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button if you haven't done so already. So yeah, going to be live for about another half hour. I'm going to be back on a few hours later. And yeah, once again, I do want to get a build out for you guys before I drop off for today. So I'm getting pretty close to making one. Right now I kind of just want to have it so like you attack the enemy, enemy attacks you, just kind of going back and forth. I mean, it's pretty simple, but I just want to get something out there. And then again, I'm going to be back this afternoon and you'll be getting a bunch of stuff done later today. And so someone asks, Even Prime asks, is Uni ever going to make the dark theme for free? It's so stupid they want us to go blind if we don't pay them. That's an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, I pay for the dark theme because I'm a sucker. Just kidding. But I don't know. I hope they do. I know it's like something that's super requested, and there's a bunch of people who are upset about that. I know back in the day, the dark theme was kind of one of the main selling points of the paid version of the editor. I don't know. I feel like it's something that's like, yeah, so standard these days to have a dark theme. So, yeah, am I working on a game again other than this for the jam? Not really. I'm mostly focused on tutorials right now. But one of the reasons I kind of wanted to make kind of like a turn-based RPG game in this jam is because I kind of had the idea for making kind of a turn-based RPG as a like bigger game project. So yeah, right now it's just kind of a matter of finding time to be able to work on the games. But I think it could be cool to build something like this out a little bit more. And so yeah, I do want to make some more dev vlogs again. Those are definitely fun to make. Just wondering, why in the world would we ever need to resort to source code modification to change appearance related things? Yeah, that's true. Is there actually a way that you can, through some registry hacks or some other source code modification to actually get it into the dark mode. How old are you? I'm 26. How old are you? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Okay, so anyways, attack. We attack the enemy. And then, oh, okay, so we're back to our turn. So it looks like that is working. 16, nice. How long have you been developing for then? 21. Modify some hex codes. Oh, okay. Okay. Get the old guy in the room. Hey, no, we don't hate on anyone here. All right, so now basically just need to properly display the UI or properly update the UI. So in our execute actions, we execute the action. Been working with C# longer than they've been alive. Looks like Travis is in the same boat as Gary. Okay, so the execute does that. Modify health. Oh, so I guess I can see if we actually are modifying the health when I execute the action. So if we go to the enemy, probably need to put this into debug mode. So I can see, oh, it's not going to let me see the current health because I have it a little bit hidden away. That's fine. I'm going to make the enemy's max health 10 and the player attacks for 5. And I think I debug a statement when the character is dead. Yes. Okay. The Game Company, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Okay, attack, 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 attack. Okay, does not look like it's actually working. By the way, why should you make abstract classes? You can just inherit normal classes with virtual voids. Started game development around 1 to 2 years ago. That's pretty good. I've been I started in college probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So you don't accidentally instantiate the base class. Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't really done much with abstract classes. Aren't they like adding some... Didn't I hear they were like adding some more better features to abstract classes to C# soon? Or were they doing some things to interfaces to make them more like abstract classes? And so do I literally just do that? Abstract? They're adding functionality to interfaces. Make default constructors and such. Okay. That's what it was. Okay, yeah. Adding more to interfaces. Method you want a child class to implement, you can mark as abstract and take away the definition. Got it. Got it. Like normal class is just a big parent class serves template for children, but you can make instances of abstract classes. Okay, yeah. Should I submit my game as incomplete? Like, if I'm only going to make one level? Dude, absolutely. One level isn't incomplete. You have one level completed. However much you have put in. I mean, there's a lot of people who, frankly, aren't going to finish one level. So if you have one level, that's fantastic. Submit what you got, man. Totally. Love to see what you made. Easily have generic character that has actions and such. Yeah, no, I completely agree. A lot of my game jam games in the past have only been one level, so that's really what you need. This is basically just a way for you to kind of prototype something, and if you can make a full complete level, then heck yeah, that's awesome. All right, I need to finish this up because I'm gonna have to drop off in about 15 minutes. 15-20 minutes. Yeah, just throw in an ending screen, boom, done. Okay. Yeah, I think GMTK, he's doing, like he said he was going to play through the top 100, and then he's going to pick out his favorite 20 and make a dedicated video on that. Oh, I got to end the turn, right. And the end turn button actually doesn't do anything yet. So in the UI controller, let's go ahead and of a public void for on button and turn. And then here, I guess I just put this into execute actions. Am I actually calling execute actions from anywhere? No. So I guess I can just put this in the update function. That's fine. Yeah, yep. Got to actually execute the actions. We need more states. Can never have too many states. What's going on, Sajith Game? That is an awesome emoji. I don't know if I've ever even seen that before. What is that? That's cool. Welcome to the stream, though. How's it going? Okay, so I guess on button end turn, we can just change the state. Is that a hand washing emoji? It might be. Actually, I think that's exactly what it is. Let me see if I can have that. Huh. Okay. So the on turn, we'll just change the battle state machine to player action playback. Okay. Now come over here. This is Visual Studio 2019, but I turned off the like annotations to show how many times a function is used. I wasn't a super fan of it. I think it just kind of adds extra stuff to the code, and it was something that I wasn't really used to. I felt like it just was kind of like breaking up my code a little bit too much. So I ended up just turning that off, and it's like one of those things where if I ever wanted to know how many references to it, I can just check that pretty quickly. But I don't know. Maybe I'll switch back at some point, but I turned it off. So end turn button is going to go to the UI controller on button end turn. Okay. So begin battle, attack, select the enemy, end the turn. Nice. Source player, target, enemy. So show enemy selection. So select action, then it comes in here. It should change the state to enemy action playback. Then once it's in enemy action playback, because once I execute the actions, it should go back to the. Interesting. I don't know if it executed the enemy's action. Yeah, throw a console log in there to see. That's exactly what I was about to do. Well, so I do have a console log for, this is source player, target enemy amount 5. So I know I contact the enemy. And then I have this show enemy selection UI, which means that it did go into the enemy action select. So in theory, it called the select action function, which should have grabbed our character from here, added the character action to the battle controller queue. When does the UI draw things? What state? So it shows the battle action buttons when we're in the player action select state. So enemy action playback. I think this is probably where the problem is, the enemy action playback. So if we're in the enemy action playback, it should execute the actions. Let me just do a debug.log here. All right, I will be right back real quick before I drop off. All right, I'm back. Okay, so let's make sure that we're actually executing these actions here for the enemy. So begin the battle, attack, attack, end the turn. So we have executing actions, source players. Okay, so we aren't executing the enemy's actions. Let's make sure we actually found this player. See if Gary's code is correct here. Found the player. All right, he's a genius. Okay. So we found the player. Let's do add action and then change the state to enemy action playback. Don't go that far. You're changing the state in the state changed event. Yeah. It's kind of what I was thinking. I'm looking for the mistake. Where do you think it is? What script? Yeah, I think that's what I was just about to do. You think I should do that in the enemy class or battle controller? Because I've been kind of doing it in the battle controller. Yeah, do all the AS stuff in the state change. Cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. Found player, executing actions, Perfect. Okay, cool. So now I just want to... Actually, yeah, let's see if we can actually defeat the enemy now. How much health did the enemy start with? I thought he only started with 10. Action, execute, target, modify. I think his current health should be set to the max to begin with, which is 10. And then modify health. We have int amount. Modify cur stat by the amount. Oh. I think I'm increasing the health. That's not what you want to do with an attack. Enemy ran out of health. Yes. Okay. So I mean I have to drop off like right now, but I think... Do we think I can update the UI real quick? Actually, looks like you're still developing a prototype. Yeah, pretty much. It's a lot of the stuff is on the code side. I think this afternoon, you know, I have kind of the main battle stuff in place right now. So this afternoon when I get back to streaming, I think we're going to be adding in some more art and stuff to make it look much more like a game. But yeah, right now we're just kind of working on some of the behind the scenes stuff, getting the mechanics in place. So that's always super fun. Actually, realistically, foundational programming is great. After this works, you can do all sorts of fun things. Heck yes. I'm going to do this right in the execute method. No, I'm going to do this in the character modify health. Guess I don't have this set up as a singleton yet. What's going on, Diamond? Unfortunately, I'm actually about to drop off in just a couple minutes, but I will be back this afternoon. But I'm real quickly just jamming to try and get a quick build out to you guys. I'm thinking very hard. I'm laser focused trying to get this build out to you guys before I have to drop off. Okay, so the UI controller, nope. Public static. Dot update health UI, and this is actually not where I want to put that. I wanted this in the character. Boom. Okay. Fingers crossed that health bars work. Nice! Although it looked like I killed the player. Alright. Well, hey, I think that's good enough for a build. I got to drop off right now, but I appreciate you all for stopping by. If you didn't already, make sure you hit that like button. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I know it was a little bit of a shorter one, but I will be back this afternoon, and this one's going to be much longer. Let's see, real quickly, Gary says, for tonight you might want to have an event on the stat class itself, and the UI controller can hook up to the event. I think that's probably a pretty good idea. But yeah, so we can kind of figure things out like that. Again, I'm going to have to drop off right now. I'm going to try and export this build and get it up. I'll have it on that link. I think it's just like tmg.dev/gmtk2020-build or something like that. There's a link in the description of this video. Anyways, once again, I really appreciate y'all for stopping by, and I will see you in just a few hours.